If you're a parent who's ever taken your kids on a road trip, you know there are two kinds of road trips. There's the dramatic kind, and then there's the peaceful kind. And of course, we all want the peaceful one, right? But we find ourselves in life in a situation where we got into this drama circle, we got into this conflict. And, conflict is really when expectations collide. That's what happens, and that's what creates drama, is that we have competing expectations, sometimes unknown, sometimes expectations that we didn't communicate or they didn't communicate, and we just got in this mess and we got to figure out how to get out. I want to talk to you about how to create a peace plan that will work, and we're going to jump into it. It's going to spell the word peace, P-E-A-C-E. So the first way that you can get through the drama, I hope even get from the drama, and really come out the other side with a peaceful relationship, a stronger relationship, a better outcome, a stronger team, more productivity, more momentum, all of the things that all of us want. I want to show you how to do that. And the first way we do that is we start with the P, which is pray first. We pray first. Now, I know that's like maybe not the first thing that you think of when you go, I got to resolve this drama. It's like, it's hot, it's heavy, and we got to figure it out. We got to start with prayer. Jesus did say, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. And so he really gives us his pathway on how we can do this. And it begins with prayer. I remember when I was in college, I had a class on peacemaking. And so we were reading this book, this professor's talking about peace, and something that I was dealing with at the time was I had a rift in my relationship with my dad, and it was a big one. And it was the only time in my life where there had been something like that with my dad. And so I was not sure what to do, but I was pretty sure everything was his fault. Of course, So when you start to pray, and they were telling me you should pray, and you should pray about what is your part in this situation, and I was like, I don't have a part in the situation. It's 100% his fault. But I started to pray, my heart started to get soft, and I started to realize that I did have a part in this conflict. I did have a part in this drama, and the Lord showed me that. And as I started to see this come clear, I started having a heart to pray for him, and so his heart would be soft, and so that we could come together and really make peace in this conflict we're having. So I want to give you a couple things. Pray for understanding. That's one thing. Pray for understanding. For you first, and then for them. Pray for unity, for that there'd be unity. Always there's one result that God, of course, wants us to achieve in our relationships, which is restoration. Restoration. That doesn't mean that every conflict has to end with the relationship being like it was. Or even sometimes in a business situation. Doesn't mean that the partnership has to continue. There's times when it's necessary endings. But restoration of the relationship can still be intact. There can still be goodwill. We can pray for peace, right? We can pray for breakthrough. We can pray for unity. And those things are important. Pray for a positive outcome for all parties. And I can report back and say, when I started realizing I had a part in this thing with my dad, we did have a conversation, we did resolve the conflict, and we have been on great terms ever since. This is a long time ago. And it was an important lesson for me to realize that, it's usually a two-way street in a relational conflict. There's usually a two-way street. And so it's good to start humbly and prayerfully and start moving on from there. So P, pray first. E is engage directly. Okay, engage directly, as opposed to, going around about it. As opposed to posting something on social media. Engage directly, in other words, with the one person. I think of it like a cone. Like if you could picture an orange cone, At the top of that orange cone, it's tight. Like the relationship circle, the communication circle is really tight. And it should be. Jesus himself tells us in Scripture, when you have a problem with somebody, he says, go directly to the person. And he says, then if you try to speak with them and they're not open, he says, go find a friend that you trust and bring them with you and reapproach it. And it says, and then if it's not going to be received and there's no will to resolve this, then it goes, bring them to the church leadership. Bring the church leadership into it to help guide you in this, spiritual leaders to help guide you in this very important stuff of unity and conflict resolution. So it's important that we be willing to go, I'm gonna do this directly. You might have heard the word triangulation. It means when you start pulling other people into this. And boy, does that mess things up. There's gossip. There's hearsay, there's he said, she said, they said. It's a mess. Don't even get started. Follow the Jesus way on this thing. Engage directly. In fact, when you engage, my typical approach is not to take sensitive matters to text or email, because when you send electronic communication, it doesn't come with tone of voice. It doesn't come with body language. It doesn't come with facial expressions, and it makes it very difficult for people to interpret it. So honor the person that you need to speak with by doing that in person. It's the most honoring thing to do. And I promise you, it is the most effective way to handle a sticky situation, is to honor the person with your presence and engage them directly. Really, really important. The A in our peace plan stands for ask and listen. Ask and listen. I mean, this is hard because in a conflict situation, especially if there's drama, you've got stuff you want to say. But just wait. Just hold on. First, seek to understand. Then to be understood. That's what Stephen Covey taught us, is seek first to understand, then to be understood. You know, that's the mature thing to do, right? And if you're going to be somebody who helps make peace like Jesus, then you're gonna take the high road. A leader resolves conflict with a team member by listening to their unmet expectations, because that was the source of conflict in the first place. Unmet expectations. Here's a question that you might want to throw out, or a phrase. Help me understand what's most important to you in this situation. Help me understand what's most important to you in this situation. Ask a question like that, and then just go, just gonna wait. You'll get the truth. You'll get what you're looking for. You'll get to understand them and to hear what the issue is for them. And then it will be an opportunity for you to share yours. I mean, Jesus even did this. He went to a guy and said, tell me what you want me to do for you. And it's important that we're willing to ask those questions, to invite that sort of input. Question for you. When was the last time in a conflict situation you listened more than you spoke? It's an important piece to this. And so ask and listen. That's a part of the peace plan. If you're wondering how you can reduce the drama in your team, in your family, in your life, with your friends, it's this. It's PEA, and then the C stands for clarify expectations. So clarify those expectations. A lot of reasons why there's drama is because the expectations weren't even clear in the first place, you know? And so sometimes this is our opportunity. If you're a leader, if you're leading a family, if you're leading a team, if you're leading a church, if you're leading a business, it's your opportunity as a leader to grow in clarifying expectations in a way that people can receive them, and then also don't forget them, that they're really super clear. Like a canvas. I think of it like a canvas, you know, that you're going to paint on. It's got 4 sides, right? And so you can start to clarify the canvas. For an example, if you're talking about a home and you're going, let me clarify some expectations. We want to clean home, right? And you might say, so that means the socks go in the hamper. That's one side of the thing. Want the laundry, situation tidy. It means that the kitchen sink, it's clean by bedtime. We go through there and everybody puts their stuff in the dishwasher before bed. That's like one way you could do it. You could say, the bathrooms look this way. You could say the beds are made when you get out of bed. You can have things that say, what do we mean by clean? That's how we clarify expectations. That's what a canvas looks like. If it's a business situation, you could do something like, hey, you're running a project, and I want you to know you have a budget. Here's the one side of the canvas. You got a budget. You got a team. This is what the team looks like. Either we're going to provide it, you're going to recruit it, whatever it looks like. You got a timeline maybe. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. This is your timeline. And then maybe you got here's the reporting structure that we want in all of this. But it's super clear. Like check in like this, or it might be and here's the outcomes you got to hit. But you can go to town. You can paint with red or green or blue. It doesn't matter because the canvas is set and you can do things, and it provides that structure and that clarity that a lot of times people are looking for, and it is a big reason why drama happens in the first place. So sometimes it's about going on the front end of a relationship, clarifying, and it might just help you avoid drama altogether. So fun when that happens. Then E stands for establish next steps, because now you've got all this stuff out on the table. It's time to rebuild something with it. And so it's important that we go, okay, now let's talk about where we're going from here. And that's really a who, what, and a when. It's who's going to do what by when, and how are we going to move forward in this relationship. And that's really so important. It can really help each party know that they matter and that there is a future. And, again, sometimes there's a situation where you come to the end and you go like, okay, so we're not going to be business partners anymore. That happens in life. But at least and at least it's clear. And it does reduce drama even knowing that much. Now, sometimes what you can do is you can just have predetermined responses. You can say, here's the who, the what, and the when, and here's what's going to happen if this goes this way. But if it goes this way, it's going to happen like this. So you can just have these predetermined responses. Let me give you an example of this whole peace plan, hopefully wrapped up into one example, and that is the road trip example. Our family's had the chaotic kind. We've had the peaceful kind. We love the peaceful kind. Our kids are now grown out of the house, but when they were with us, we would take road trips fairly often. And some of them were quite long. I mean, long, big miles, big, lots of states, that kind of thing. And so we decided we would invent a game because it got a little chaotic and we needed something to help us. So we invented a game. It's called the Four Levels. The Four Levels was just about behavior and peacefulness, and it had to do with rewards and privileges. And so we built these privilege stacks where level 1 had almost no privileges at all, and level 2 had a little bit. Level 3 was good. Level 4 was like awesome. The kids wanted to be on level 4, and in fact, we posted their level to start the road trip out. As soon as we left the driveway, they started out on level 4. And the only thing that could change that is things like arguing or throwing something at your brother or sister, stuff that happens with kids on road trips. And it got dramatic sometimes. But the truth is that nobody wanted to start descending down that thing because it was fun to be on level 4. We all liked it. And so, they knew if they got to level 1, they were basically going to have to hitchhike. I mean, it was going to be bad. They weren't really, but it was going to be bad. And so we all wanted to stay on level 4. And really, I would say, even on those 12-hour days, most of the time, our kids were on level 4 because they wanted to be, because we had gone through the process, the peace plan was clear, and most people want peace. And so if we'll take time to work this peace plan, it will work. We got to pray first. We got to engage directly. We got to ask and listen. We got to clarify our expectations. We got to establish next steps. This is the way to peace. And I hope it helps you this week. I hope it reduces the drama in your life and really makes your team better, your family better, yourself better. And I hope you have an awesome week.